This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
This, however, is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. I was waiting for applause. Nothing. You can, on Steve Wright in the afternoon, there's only 2 of them, but it sounds like 20 people. They really go.
There's more applause at the Trump inauguration.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
Morning, all.
Morning. Morning, Inspector. That's what it sounded like, didn't it?
Good, that.
There's only one thing worse than a bank copper.
Well, don't keep us on tenterhooks. What is that?
I don't know what it is. I know. I could only see the list from a distance.
Okay.
And I could read a bank copper at number 2, but the number 1 was slightly obscured.
Oh.
I hate it when that happens, when you're looking at a league table over someone's shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
You ever done that?
Yeah, all the time.
So,
I definitely have back in my past.
So it's a different world in a way from where we were last week. But you know what I find? It never really feels very different. No matter.
I know what you mean.
Whether there's a war on, what party's in power.
Yeah.
Just things trundle along.
Yeah.
Just as well. So,
good to hear that.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
I'll tell you a nice little moment I had this week. I was leaving Mass on Sunday morning, talking to the PP.
PP?
Who's the PP?
The parish priest.
Oh.
And
PP's quite commonly used for something else, don't you?
Is he?
Yeah, PP.
Oh. Anyway, I was... he'd read in the paper that I was doing a show in town that was £5 a ticket.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
But I don't know if he'd quite got the signal. He said to me, I read about your show you're doing. I thought, I hope there was no quotes from that night. And he said to me...
you don't like it when 2 worlds collide, Frank.
No, he said, £5 a ticket you charge. I said, that's right. He said, you know what? You're worth it.
Oh.
And I thought, no. I thought, it's a low price, is the idea. But hey, I took it well. So I did, I finished the show.
You are worth
this
it,
week.
Frank.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
What about when we went to see Sue Pollard, one of our family friends, dear family friends?
How much did she charge?
Well, I'll tell you how much she charged, because Barbara Windsor was there, and she said to Sue afterwards, tell you what, good 10 quid's worth, babe. And it was good 10 quid's worth, babe.
Oh, that's nice.
It's a lovely compliment.
Yeah.
I learnt a lot, actually, during the show. The nice thing about doing a show where you don't have any jokes up your sleeve is that you go searching for things.
Oh, yeah.
We should say that's what the deal with this.
Yeah, the joke is, the show was called Man With No Show, and it...
Frank has no show.
I have no show. But I spoke to... someone was telling me, I love an interesting fact, that... donkeys, year on year, year on year was the important fact in this. Year on year, donkeys kill more people than sharks.
Wow.
Year on year?
Year on year.
Why is that important?
Well, they emphasised the year on year because I suggested there could have been one enormous donkey massacre one year where they killed like 10,000 people in a rampage, Maybe they'd been penned in somewhere and, animosity had built up in the donkey community.
Yeah. I like year on year. It's very Arsenal in the 80s, week in, week out.
Well, yes. When I talked about the possibility of it happening in one horrible attack, a man in the audience suggested that would be called an massacre, which I very much enjoyed.
Very impressive.
Oh.
Yeah, and it was moments like that. Yeah. There was no need for me. I was little more than an orchestra.
That's the joy of you not bringing a show that they can allow their star to shine.
Exactly, there's room.
I just think it's so nice that you guys can all find yourselves, you pun people.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly.
Al likes puns.
I love a pun.
Yeah.
But I was very happy with Asuka. And it's a great fact.
It is.
Is it a fact, or is it a, inverted commas, fact?
Well, I took it out. I never even questioned the fact it might not be a fact. I trust the audience.
In what way do they kill people? Do they just go on rampages?
I think kicking is one of their main.
Oh, dear.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we think...
Power moves. See, I don't think that about any large-sized creatures.
I'm only thinking about donkeys.
Don't diss my equines.
No,
well,
that would make a nice T-shirt.
Yeah.
I think that could be the next big slogan. You know, from the people who bought you
What's up?
What's up and Tell Sid.
Yes.
Remember that one?
Yeah,
The gas shares and all that. Yeah. Don't diss my equines. It sounds like it's about something else as far as
I'm
go
gonna
on.
think
It sounds like it could be Kid Creole and the Coconut song. King Creole, sorry.
Yeah, or kid, any of the Creoles. I mean, they're a big musical family. The Creoles, they're like the Cause.
Oh, are they?
Except they went their own separate paths instead of hanging around together.
Was it King Creole or Kid Creole? One was an Elvis film, one more
King
Yellow
Creole.
Suit.
King Creole is the Elvis
Okay,
film.
it's Kid Creole and the Coconut song.
King Creole. Everybody. I wonder if anyone at home went, there's a man in New Orleans who plays all that. I wonder if there's anyone. If you actually started to sing King Creole, then text us on 81215 and I will salute your achievement. But don't lie. I mean, ever.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Earlier, you burst into unprompted song.
Well, I did the backing vocals, which introduce King Creole, which, as you rightly say, is the title of a song and a film by Elvis Aaron Presley.
And,
You suggested... Well, you thought no one was going to be with you on that one.
Well, sometimes you start. So I used to play snooker a lot, and I used to do an experiment with the theme tune from Some Mothers Do Have Them. In a quiet snooker, and they're very quiet places, snooker, I would go, and then I'd just leave. Exactly.
I would have done that.
Would come in. Someone would come in. It might be a long gap, and you'd hear.
Yeah. Would you respect Mondo, that person?
Oh, absolutely.
Thank you. Well, you're going to have a lot of respect for some of our listeners, because they've all been at it.
Yeah, you've lit up the switchboard.
Really?
Who would have thought of all the things that we've asked them over the years?
Jamie Wood.
Turns out, did
Al?
you sing along to the song I just started? Is the way to get people to respond.
That's great.
Jamie Wood, Al.
Jamie Wood?
Do you know Jamie Wood?
No, but thanks for the tip.
Yeah.
There we go.
Jamie Wood.
Frank, you had a look on your face then as if to say my work here is done.
Yeah, exactly.
I've never seen-
My boy, I was thinking.
Never seen anyone so happy in my life. Jamie Wood said, I was there with you on King Creole anymore, and I'd have been jumping like a catfish on a pole.
Ah, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Al, any more? We've had a few...
Just walk the dog on Cannock Chase, King Creole, ha ha, yes. Started singing. That's 954. That's not the one that I was trying to read, but
That's
it's nice.
good. I like the idea of
It's
someone
nice.
I did.
singing.
Cheers, Wiggy.
Well, there's a man in New Orleans, and he's a rock and roller. He's a guitar man with a great big soul.
Yes.
Is that right? That's Phil Hartley Kent.
So he's not only got a catfish on a pole, he's also got a great big soul. It's about a fishmonger.
Is he called Phil Hartley
Is it?
Kent? Or Phil, Hartley, Kent?
I hope he's called... He might be Phil who lives in Hartley in Kent. You know Hartley? It's a lovely little...
I don't know that.
No,
Lot of
I don't-
hairs.
I'm
you're
not sure it
pretending.
exists.
Oh,
I think he's called Phil Hartley and he lives in Kent.
Okay.
Which
I see.
might suggest that he's a former criminal of some kind and retired there, which so many of the people
I've heard he's a rock and roller with a guitar.
Well, but he might not be. I'm sure they've got civilians doing work for them
well,
who live there.
Dave hasn't given us any of the lyrics, but he says, "Hi team, I sang the first line. Dave, shifting manure on a very cold, frosty garden on the Isle of Wight."
I tell you what we have got as a result of the accidental King Creole texting, is a little picture of lots of people doing different things in different
Yeah.
places.
I love a snapshot into their lives.
Little snapshot.
Well, you say that.
It ought to be in my little snapshot album.
You say that, but once, when our producer said, let's do a texting of what are you doing now,
Yes.
you've never let her forget it.
No. Well, it is.
I mean, it was almost an exiting issue.
It was page one of how to do a radio show. But what I'm saying is we've found it from a more obtuse angle.
For sure.
And that's what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. 8-12-15!
Yes.
I'm sorry, I was just... oh, never mind.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
We've had a bit of clarity from. Remember we had the
Ackerbilk?
No, remember that we had the old Phil Hartley Kent,
yes.
which makes him sound like a posh person with a double barrel surname.
He said, "My name, it's Phil Hartley."
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
He's texted again. Hi, Phil here again from Hartley and Kent.
Oh, there is a Hartley in Kent. Lovely.
He says, I'm a dodgy character with gold bullion in my swimming pool. I like the sound of him.
I wonder if he did get arrested by the police, that text could be used as evidence.
Yes.
Well, I'm such a health and safety dad character that as soon as I heard gold bullion in the swimming pool, I thought, I hope he's put a signage up saying that in case anyone just dives in.
Yeah.
What if they crack their head on bullion?
Right. Anyway.
What were we talking about?
Well, you know, I was talking about the donkeys killing more than sharp.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
This, I also got into a conversation about camels.
Okay.
You know, the one thing leads to another in these kind of evenings.
I know camels.
You're only a hop, skip and a hump away from a chat about a camel.
That's tremendous work. Congratulations. What happened was there was someone in from the Cotswold Safari Park. And I was talking...
Isn't there always, darling?
Yes, and I was just asking generally, and this, maybe you guys both knew this, but it was a new one on me. I was asking which one is the Bactrian and which one is the dromedary? You know, the one hump or the two hump.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Now, do you know this method?
Beginner's question.
See, I didn't know this.
Beginner's camel question.
Well, anything D, drom, that feels like 2. No, that feels like 1. Oh, I don't know.
I don't know.
Well, the idea is do you not know?
No.
The idea is if you look at them sideways, the one hump looks like a D, a capital D.
Oh, okay.
That's the dromedary, whereas the two humps look like a B.
Oh, okay.
For Bactrian. So they actually come come with their own initial on their backs. Which got me on to the fact, it reminded me that I'd heard, do you know about the African and Indian elephants?
Well, it depends
I'm sensing that you don't.
Well, it depends what sort of rumours you've heard about them.
Yeah,
well, the African elephants'
How did you read this 3 a.m?
The ears... Yeah, this is great gossip.
African elephant goss from 3 a.m.
Yes.
Spotted.
Look, don't tell anyone you heard it here, and I'm sworn not to tell anyone this, African elephants' ears are shaped a bit like the continent of Africa, whereas Indian elephants' ears are shaped more like India.
Oh, hang on.
Excuse me. Our lawyers are watching.
I don't want to have to be able to learn geography, What if I don't know what the shape of Africa looks like?
Well, then you won't be interested in their wildlife.
All right, fair enough.
Also,
it all makes
Cotswold
sense.
Safari Park. What is this? Come and look at our Farrow and Ball paint colours. I mean, it just seems a strange concept. I love the Cotswolds. I love safari. I wouldn't have put the two together.
I had a lovely day there in which I fed the penguins. I think I talked about it on this show, but it shows how much you guys are listening.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
Oh, there's a thanks to Alan here.
Yes.
Morning all. Wanted to say how useful Alan...
From his wife. Wouldn't it be lovely if
Going away to work.
if she just said thanks, thank you.
Thanks for the peace and quiet around
Just
the
thanks
house.
for being you.
Well, sometimes we never stop and tell people around us thank you.
Oh.
Well, you need to write your gratitude journal.
Oh.
I've started doing that. No,
Wow.
3 things that you're grateful for every day.
We're all very zen.
They're all sitting in this room.
Nice.
Oh.
Morning all. Wanted to say how useful... 4 of us in this room. I do apologise. Wanted to say...
There's actually 5 of us, so that's made it worse.
Oh, gosh, they're all...
I mean, 2 outsiders at least have got each other. But now...
You know what? I'll give you an extra special mention tomorrow, guys. Morning all. Oh,
I might try that. 3 things I'm grateful for every day.
It can be anything. It could be a
journal
friend.
already, don't you?
I already
be
journal, but I don't have a gratitude section.
the parking warden who let you off the ticket. If you were going to be less selfish, it could be someone's friendship.
I'm thinking I'll use them up before I get out of bed.
That's good.
Anyway...
Yeah, and you have to make sure that the book you keep is a really nice... You choose a nice book that means something to you.
Well, you know me, I love a nice notebook.
Morning all. Wanted to say how useful Alan's handy tips are. I had a blocked bath last week and I used his boiling water remedy. 4 kettlefuls later, Problem solved. Respectamundo.
Can I interject here? For a start, respectamundo for using respectamundo. Secondly, my handy tip was for like a sink in the kitchen, because I thought that kitchen sinks blocked up because of people putting grease down, you know, if it's on your pots and pans or whatever, and then it clogs up.
I think that used to happen in the 40s.
Yeah. I'm not sure how greasy a person is that has managed to make their bath block up.
Well, Charles Bronson.
This person's thanking you.
Charles Bronson,
I know.
after he's gone on a rave.
I don't want to get too forensic.
Condemning their innate greasiness.
Yeah.
Perhaps it was famous prisoner Charles Bronson after he'd butted himself up for an escape attempt.
That's a good point.
Or it could have been someone, Frank, who just swam the channel.
Goose fat. What I'm worried about
How dare you?
I'm
actually on a diet at the moment.
I'm just working through a range of nicknames for my friends at the moment. No, but what worries me about that is the 4 kettles of boiling water in quick succession.
Why?
Because I grew up, on the FA Cup final, and at half-time they always said the national grid will be under great strain at the moment because of people making tea.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking 4 kettles nowadays, the national grid will be reeling. Yeah. But clearly it got through
This
that.
person has something to say about you as well.
Okay.
Also, don't look so panicky.
Okay.
Also, saw Frank at Soho Theatre last Saturday with my son, who mentioned how Frank looked very private detective-like in a coat and tie. Could be a new series. There you go.
Yeah, I'm up for that. Bring back sort of. I'd like to bring back Public Eye, which was one of my favourite TV shows of all time.
Don't know that one.
Alfred Burke as Frank Marker. Google it. Why don't you Google it if you don't know it? I'm sorry, I'm working on a Punch and Judy show for Absolute Radio. That's not quite. I haven't got it off the ground yet.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
Yeah.
We should perhaps explain that you've got a mouthful of apple to...
I have not.
Well, I've got a combine harvester. Wow.
We're all doing all right, aren't we?
I'm sorry. Yeah, well, this is May's Britain. I've just had an apple and...
Whatever happened to...
We know you've just had an apple.
And I tell you what I did, which is whatever happened to. I don't know if people still do this. But absolutely instinctively, I shined it on my shirt before I ate it.
I still do that.
Oh, I love that.
But I never do it with a green one.
Is that right?
I only do it with a red. Green one, I like they've got a slight matte finish often, the green ones. But a red one, I want it absolute. I want to be able to see my open mouth approaching it.
You know what it is,
of the apple.
It's very Derek Pringle on the run-up.
It is, yeah. Now, that was in the days when bowlers used to shine their own, I'm going to say cricket balls, because we don't want to enter any silly ha-ha.
No, come on.
We're better than that. But now they have people in the team.
For that.
Like Joe Root in the England team, he's the ball shiner, so they throw it to him and he...
No.
As if it's a specialist.
I'm uncomfortable with this conversation. There's too many funny words knocking around. It's going to carry on.
It does feel a bit like...
I used to, when I was younger though, here we go, I used to find that red on the cricket trousers something very sexy about that.
No.
Yeah, I
No, there was something about it. It was just quite macho and the whole thing. I enjoyed
can
it.
see that. And the green, I used to get home from the cricket with the green on my knees.
Oh, I would have liked that.
But that's it with being a Catholic. I like to pray on the hour.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We were talking before about how you identify a Bactrian from a dromedary by the humps, and also African
like
elephant.
so many on commercial radio this morning.
Yeah. If anyone's got any other interesting ways of identifying animals, 8, 12, 15.
Well, we've actually had a poem texted to us on that very topic.
Well, lovely.
Pete 489 has texted, poem by the late great Ogden Nash. The camel has a single hump, the dromedary too, or else the other way around, I'm never sure of you.
Yeah, not as helpful.
He then adds, I remember the poem but still never remember which is which.
No, it's not up there with 30 Days at September or whatever. But
That's one of my favourite poems.
Is it really?
Oh, I love that.
But as someone...
That'd be the eulogy at my funeral. Imagine if that happened, Frank read that out.
as someone pointed out to me 30 days at September, is that it's not that helpful to remember because November, December, September all rhyme. So you could remember it as 30 days after December.
Right. Also, it then says all the rest have. Whoa, all the rest have. I'm getting confused. You've gone a bit vague. You started off so specific.
Yeah.
Now all the rest.
But anything in the modern world that includes the word half, I'm really happy with. It's like on Remembrance Sunday, just to hear the word lest again. Oh, yeah. I mean, these words, they haven't completely gone away, but whenever they emerge, I just love it. Oh.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I am Frank Skinner. I'm on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cockerel. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter @Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Still enough now, I think we do have to discuss that there is a new President of the United States of America.
What?
Yes.
He's in here.
Oh.
He seems nice.
Trump resigned last night.
There was a period about 3 weeks ago where I thought he already looked a bit fed up of the job before he'd even started, but he seems...
Frank has said something,
again.
which is, even though we could be mere moments away from some terrible international crisis, I have never laughed so much in my life at political coverage.
No.
I mean, it's hilarious.
I have to say, I was a bit disappointed by the inauguration speech.
Why?
Because it felt like I like his earlier improvised work. When he used to get up on stage and just say, thanks to Steve, is he here, and all that. And I used to find that, I didn't mind a few rough edges.
He was a bit more filtered.
It was very polished, and he'd learnt it. So I don't think he's as good.
Well, I think he had the auto cue, didn't he?
He's not as good script.
They have the panels. What about at the inaugural ball, though? He didn't let us down. He talked about the weather. He hadn't prepared a speech. He's standing in front of the Lincoln Memorial, clearly hadn't bothered to learn a speech.
Love it.
And just went, so tomorrow is going to be a great day, and hope it doesn't rain. I don't think it will rain. I don't think it's going to rain.
But that's where he finds his gold.
That's Trump gold.
Yeah.
That. He just talks about the weather. I mean, I would have put more effort into a speech for Absolute Radio.
But I've seen it happen with a lot of stand-ups. They start using writers, and then suddenly they're not funny anymore.
Just for clarity, he's not a stand-up, just in case anybody's misinformed about the power that he has in that role.
He's not officially a stand-up.
Although it is, it is still part of the.
I like the event.
Showbiz Razimus has
the event, the night before the event, when he had in front of the Lincoln Memorial, when he said it's great to have a party. I don't think this has ever been done before. And Barack Obama had done it, I think, twice.
I think with Beyonce and Stevie Wonder and Bruce Springsteen.
Yes.
Yeah. And Bill Clinton.
But it's not a lie.
And George Bush.
It's not a lie to say, I don't think this has been done before.
Yeah.
I think he's a man after my own heart. If you only Google what you don't know, not what you don't remember.
Yeah.
So he was prepared to hazard a guess.
I'd say it's not a lie, but I suspect it's willful blindness.
Well, I don't know. I don't think he was interested in politics 4 years ago.
Maybe.
And because of his very casual approach to speech making, he just repeats himself. He has no, concerns about that. I think, I've said that word, I better not use that again. He doesn't care. But he just says the same thing. He says, this has not been done. I do not think this has been done before. I don't think it's been done before.
Yeah.
I don't think it's been done before.
But again, how many comedians, have built a career on one catchphrase, just saying the same thing over and over? We could name them. They probably wouldn't like it. But again, he's, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I know there's a dark, I wouldn't call it an underbelly. There's a dark all over thing about him.
Yes.
But I do. I mean, I watched the inauguration yesterday. I've never made I've never set my alarm for an inauguration before.
No.
But keep comedy live. That's my thing.
What about? I felt myself waiting for the catchphrase at the end of the speech.
But the speech was it was a little bit like a proper politician, and that's not what we're after.
None.
I hope
I
he's
don't
not.
think it was like a proper politician.
Well, it was.
Not really. It was extraordinary.
I've only read it. It's a bit like T.S. Eliot's Wasteland or something, isn't it? Isn't it depressing?
Well, they say he's apparently, I can't say, I don't know this for sure, to borrow one of his catchphrases, but they're saying there are similarities between his speech and the speech of one of the villains in Batman. Is this correct?
No, Bane, I think.
Bane, yes.
Yeah, I didn't. I've seen Bane's speech. I didn't immediately put two and two together. I was too busy watching the former president, who he was basically laying into. I mean, that was what was great. Is he said like previous administrations have completely ignored you. They've ruined the country. And they were sitting there,
Brilliant.
and it was like, you know, when someone starts really slagging someone off, and the person's behind them, and you're trying to give them that thing with the eye that they're actually standing behind you. No one told Trump, and he just carried on. But I feel really bad that I'm so entertained by him.
Done.
Is it morally corrupt of me? I should say, look, I know he's hilarious, but he's just wrong. But
Yeah, but he's really funny.
what I'm actually saying, I know he's wrong, but he's hilarious. I've got the wrong way round.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
And can I just say, I agree. I think there are things to enjoy about the Trump presidency, although I've been accused of being a Trump apologist over the last 6 months.
You have been accused.
I have.
Trump apologist? Yes.
But I think there's a sort of an optimism to it. I think he's a poster boy for cold, sweet revenge. I think that is exactly what has driven him to this job. And he has succeeded. Like, you have to see him on the same stage as Obama, standing there saying, I'm going to demolish what you've done, and you think, have I got any revenge that I'd like to do? Because it seems like we can execute.
Well, I'm taking you out of my gratitude journal.
I'll tell you something. I've spoken to people in the public eye, and I don't mean one, I mean probably 7 or 8, who said to me that their main motivation was people who picked on them at school,
right.
People who'd split up with them.
Girls who rejected them.
Which I
What
never,
about you? Was that the case for you?
No, I never even...
I was trying to get all Kirsty Young and so Frank.
Yeah.
Tell me. Was that your main motivation?
No,
Very good. Very good, that, wasn't it?
Thank you.
I don't care. It was too long ago. Most of them died in World War II.
Trump cares.
Can I tell you another great thing that's come out of this? Baron Trump.
Oh.
I mean, never has a child lit up
Odd.
the screen for me.
Odd.
Well, he's got the ambassador's child blazer.
He's got great
And-
hair, actually.
I don't know about you, but I love a 10-year-old that looks like they work for Goldman Sachs. That's everything I want in a child.
Is that how old he is? He must be
11.
older than-
I think he's
Is
11.
that
He's
all
10.
he is?
Yeah, I think he's a 10.
Wow.
Well, this is...
Odd.
Yeah.
Odd.
They're mini adults, aren't they, these ones?
He's got a strange facial expression. He always looks like he's seen someone moving about in a drain. And he's sort of looking down in a puzzled thing. Who's that down there? That's his demeanour. Even on the balcony, he was looking down at the people. What are they up to? What are they?
What are they?
Well, someone once did say, I think it was on one of the social medias, someone referred to Ivanka as having a facial expression of someone nodding along, having pretended to have seen a film they haven't actually seen, which I thought was a good observation. Yeah.
To be fair, if my dad had become president of the United States of America when I was 11, I don't know if I'd have handled it that well.
It's some if.
What that's a
Oh,
big
don't be mean.
I tell you
No,
something, it would have made Donald Trump look quite left-wing.
But he had salt in his pocket.
Trump's temper looks measured.
I'd have been nervous at the
President.
opening speech.
At the inauguration, takes 3 military out,
Exactly.
throws salt all over the crowd.
And pulls a dog's front legs apart to burst its heart. Anyway, that's my dad.
I don't think it was that different to the speech you would have given, just because there was something quite threatening about the speech, I felt. It was quite a negative speech, wasn't it?
Well, it was, if you're American, I suppose it was quite a positive speech. It was sort of, let's just look after ourselves.
Yes, we're all out in the cold, that's true. Yeah.
Of the people who... one thing I enjoyed... Did you read about the Charlotte Church thing? That Charlotte Church was approached to perform at the inauguration.
Did not know that.
Voice of an Angel. And she said her reply was, a simple internet search would show I think you're a tyrant. Which must be one of the great refusals to do a gig.
Frank, how many times have people on production staff said that about us?
Oh, I know. I know, but we don't have the power to get them back like he does. I don't know what's going to happen to her.
That is a great put down.
She was one of the few churches not represented at the inaugural meeting. But you'll get her out. You'll get his own back.
One of the Trump's pastor,
he could bomb Wales. It's not out of the question.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
There was a woman, a BBC reporter, who was at the inauguration.
Yes.
And she was stopped by police, and they confiscated her banana.
No.
And said that the only bananas allowed on the route of the parade that had to be sliced.
Is that right?
Beforehand. And I thought, is that because you can throw a banana further if it's unsliced?
Oh.
Is it for the peel?
Or is it just a sort of...
They go so brown.
Is it sort of just a peacekeeper serving suggestion? And I thought, if she sliced it and then threaded it onto a makeshift bracelet, necklace, and worn it as a banana necklace so you could nibble from it when you needed it.
That would be
Would
fine.
that be acceptable?
Yeah, I think
Could that be used as some sort of bolus?
Are they concerned by the skin, like being thrown and it being a slipping hazard with all those people?
Oh, maybe that bit when he walked, if he'd have stood on a banana skin and fell over, that could have been the end of his presidency.
And a man of his age as well.
Oh, he would have styled it out.
That footage of him dancing with his wife is nice, isn't it? It's nice to see a 70-year-old on telly dancing not with Anton Dubek, isn't it?
Hey, he'd be a great character for... they always have the bad one on Strictly. He'd be the ultimate one for that, wouldn't he? In their face falls when they get read out. He'd be the Anne Widdecombe.
I don't know if there'd be any sort of bad stuff come out of it, but if he offered to be on Room 101, I'd snatch his hand off.
Yeah, I would think
he's not going to be on Room 101.
I suspect he's got bigger fish to fry.
Imagine if he was on there. He'd put in like the ozone layer.
Well, it would be easy to get him on there. Because, I just think you have to be nice about him. He's quite basic, I think. He's quite basic bloke. He's like a 3-year-old. It's like if you're nice to him, he likes you.
I would say I've been more positive about his comedy than I have about most comedians. I thought.
You did. I saw you on the One Show with Joan Bakewell this week. You weren't praising him, but you were saying how many laughs he'd given you.
Yeah, I think I pointed out that even if he destroyed the planet, there'd be a few laughs on the way. Which you can't say that about every... politician. A lot of them, sort of very humorless path to destruction.
Yeah.
You got to enjoy the journey.
Did you see the concert? I was a bit baffled though because I didn't know any of these people. There was someone called 3 Doors Down.
I'm told they're quite a big.
3 Doors Down. Don't they just live 3 doors down from him and he got desperate?
Oh, okay.
That's what I thought.
I'm surprised they need the money if they're 3 doors down from him.
Yeah, they're doing all right as it is. I think a lot of higher profile celebs turned it down, didn't they?
Right.
What I like to think of as a Gaddafi's money effect. I think, when Gaddafi died and everyone went, oh, so-and-so did a corporate for Gaddafi, so-and-so, and all these celebs
all the
had
corporate
to go.
Gossip.
No, they all had to give their money to charity, saying, I probably shouldn't have taken Gaddafi's money. I think maybe there's a little bit of that just hanging in the air.
See, the problem with that, can I ask you, Al, if you'd been offered, let's say you'd been offered £1 million to perform at Trump's party.
To be honest, I would have gone for 200 quid plus the hotel, which you'd expect it to be all right.
I'm trying to talk you up in case there's any corporate. You've torn me down.
Well, $500,000 is my usual rate. You're right, Frank.
But when I think of how many gigs I've done in my career and how many people I've played to, there's going to have been, for example, at least one murderer in the audience. Surely, I have entertained a murderer. I've done my best to get some laughs out of someone who has taken a human life. And see, you don't know who's out there.
Yeah, but you do know who's out there in this instance.
Yes,
no, but does that make it any better or worse? I don't know.
See, sometimes when I accept gigs in that kind of world, I look at how can I spring into jokes that I've already got. So, if you've got some car stuff and you're offered a gig for lorry drivers, you think, I can get into the car stuff.
Yeah.
Yes.
But as we know, Trump owns a lot of different businesses, and I've got at least 5 minutes on things that have happened to me in hotels. Boom, I'm
There you
away.
go.
Well, I'd rather not hear about that, thank you.
It would have been a tricky
already
gig.
heard it.
Tricky gig for
Hotel
me.
doesn't have a bed
because-
in
You work clean, I know.
I
No,
work
but
clean.
I've been a victim of millionairism, and I don't want to encourage it in others.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
Ian Angle has texted. I'm assuming that this is re the bananas.
Yes.
Okay.
Were the police
Trump
told
and the
to,
bananas.
Were the police told to keep them peeled?
Very good.
Sorry, I nearly trod all over his banana skin joke there.
Furious, I'm sure.
And they were. I think there's probably another one in this because they were known as peelers, weren't they? Police
They
in the
were.
early days.
I know, but
Oh,
darling, that's quite an old reference.
He's also said
Quite an
banana.
hour.
He said banana Republicans in another one. So there is
Oh,
a banana
he's
republic.
gone. Boomtown Rats.
Yeah.
Also quite an old reference. But what do we care?
I'll tell you what, I had no idea there were so many bands with people with cowboy hats.
Oh God, yes.
Oh,
Why
yeah,
don't
there
they-
we go.
Yeah, my old daddy told me so.
Yeah,
that
they-
seemed to be the same song playing on repeat.
Yeah, there's a lot of that, I think.
There was one man. Who was the man with the long grey hair and the cowboy hat?
You're going to have to narrow it down further
Well,
than that.
I tell you what, he reminded me of Frank's old character he does on the show.
Yeah.
Guy off the porch.
Sure was an honour to play for you, Mr. President. Yeah. Thank you so much. No, really, the place is mine, sir. Yeah.
I'm surprised you didn't get a call up, Frank, on the strength of that
What if
character.
I'd gone and played as the old timer? Done a couple of
With the
things.
ukulele?
You ask how much I would have done it for, and now how much would you have done that for? Nothing.
You would have stormed it.
Gratis.
I tell you what, there was a lot of choirs.
Was there?
Yeah, sure. When he was
Was it the Mormon
swearing in.
Tabernacle?
There was several of them, and I did think this is a terrible thing for a churchgoer to think. I thought, has anyone ever really enjoyed a choir? I mean, it really enjoyed one to the point where have they ever, when it ends, think, oh, okay, well done.
Yeah.
I hope your PP's not listening.
I know.
I thought that choir, I thought I turned on the telly and it was Oprah Winfrey, 1997. Some of the hair and they all had the same outfit. They had a cream Aran jumper and a tartan scarf, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
That's
Yeah.
what I wear. Normally, I just haven't put it on today. It's in the wash.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
what-
they are called the Alan Cochrane Memorial Choir.
Oh, that's nice.
I thought that was
Memorial,
Slightly
that's
chilling,
nice,
but
right?
it's nice.
Well, I
Nice.
think that was commemorating the death of his corporate career following his announcement of 200 quid a show earlier. Anyway, it was a splendid event
Yes.
all round. And I tell you one thing I would drop if I was his. I'm sure he doesn't have any advisors about how he handled. How he.
He's got Kellyanne Conway, who we referred to as Ooh Baby when she came up on the stage. He did.
But
Hey, baby.
I would drop the thumbs up.
Oh,
as a
Why?
symbol. I would associate that with
With those long masculine hands? Are you kidding?
I associate it largely with simpletons, open brackets, and Paul McCartney, close brackets. I can't think of anyone else who uses it anymore.
oh, I'd be sad.
Oh no, I hope he drops that. You know what? I can forgive him destroying the ozone layer, but not using a thumbs up on a regular basis. Can I take that back? I can't
Yes.
forgive him. Destroying it. I'd say the one thing I'm most worried about with Trump is the.
That's not me.
Whose phone
Come
is it
on!
That was not me. I'm on airplane mode.
Now, if
as
Trump was
discussed.
running this show, whoever that was would be out.
I'm sorry, but I think it's Sarah.
It's not me.
Look, well, maybe we should have this discussion
Stewart's
off air.
inquiry.
You think so?
Yes.
You think an inquest off air would be better?
You know, it was going to be 4 people who you... Was it 4 people who you were grateful for
On my
one you
gratitude
weren't?
journal.
I think we're about to find out who's not in the journal.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Do you remember last week we were discussing cutlery?
Yeah, I was talking
Yes.
about the method of turning your fork so it becomes a bridge rather than a scoop, and then pushing it around the plate, forcing stuff onto... I think what I pointed out was the sort of Wild West train
Yeah.
front of it.
And I mooted that I thought I might be exactly one of these characters. I push with the knife onto the top of the fork.
Yeah, I hate it.
And I just felt repelled.
Well, guess what? We've had an email saying, "Greetings, Frank, the Divine Miss M, and Alan."
Is it from Captain T. Kirk?
No. Following on from the forking debate of last week, you heard, who would have thought Alan would be the one who is officially poshest? And then there is a link to, is it Debrett's?
Debrett's,
Oh,
yeah.
Descartes.
Is it Debrett's?
Debrett's, yeah.
And there is a web page with cutlery advice on Debrett's. When used with a knife or spoon, the fork should be held in the left hand in much the same way as the knife, with the prongs facing downwards.
Yeah.
On its own, it is held in the right hand with the prongs facing upwards, resting on the fingers and secured with the thumb and index finger.
Well, quite.
That's exactly what I do. Boom.
Yeah, but you can prong with it. You don't have to push stuff onto the Wild West train front and then, see, people have, I'll squeeze a bit of carrot on and a bit of meat and a bit of this, and then that delicate thing where these foodstuffs are hanging on for dear life as it heads toward their stupid mouth.
Well, it's my stupid mouth in that case.
Oh, well, I'm sorry.
Who would have thought Alan was poshest?
Present company, etc. No, that is... funnily enough,
oh, wow.
This suggests old-fashioned correspondence.
Newsreaders.
You heard from the...
Newsreader
I
moment.
heard from Tiberius, and apparently Caesar...
How is ancient Rome?
Caesar has crossed the Rubicon. I mean, I didn't think he'd have the gall.
Frank, that's our
That's not
second
bad.
bit of your 3am gossip this morning.
Exactly. And Tiberius has sent me a spork.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Don't want
Which
to show off, but
I
I've got
think
one.
is the title of Mary Beard's book on ancient Rome.
A spork.
Not quite.
How can we see
SPQR.
this spork?
You can see the spork. It's based on the sonic screwdriver as
Oh,
used
my
by
goodness.
the Doctor.
That's marvellous, isn't it?
I think, if I'm not mistaken, that is the 11th Doctor's version of the sonic screwdriver.
Which one's that? Matt Smith? Is he 11th
Matt
Doctor?
Smith is.
Oh, I got it right! A Doctor Who trivia!
Well done. Pardon?
He sent you a spork that is actually Doctor Who merch. That is lovely of him.
And he says, I am not in the habit of. I'm presuming that Tiberius is a he. I don't like. He's put 2 kisses after Tiberius, but
Doesn't mean much.
no, in the modern world, do what you like. He says, I must stress I'm not in the habit of posting sci-fi items of avant-garde cutlery to members of the celebrity community, particularly when accompanied by apologetic hand-scrawled letters, apologetics. And so I love it, Tiberius, and I will use it, and I particularly like the fact that it's Doctor Who themed.
And he'll be pleased because of his text that he sent us just now.
Yeah.
Saying, morning Frank, Emily and Alan. Frank, if you received the spork I sent you this week, could you please let me know in the next half hour? I need to pop to the shops. Much obliged, Tiberius.
Well, thanks, Tiberius. And here is an example of the bubble wrap that was around it.
Oh,
And Tiberius, congratulations on your use of much obliged, which I
Yes.
haven't heard since Derek Acora using
work.
it to the spirit world.
My dad was a fan of Much Obliged, and I think I've mentioned before, I've always suspected that Mary J. Blige chose her stage name as a pun on Much Obliged.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Can I say I've received some other stuff. I've got my first birthday card. My birthday is actually next Saturday.
Oh,
But I got
giving us
one.
a heads up there.
I got one before that, and which someone I've talked about the joy of getting a pound note in my birthday card. Someone has sent me a Manx pound,
Oh, nice.
which I don't mean it's from Manchester, and it's got like a bloke with a hooded top looking
No, not at
miserable
all.
on it.
Wearing a pretty green coat.
I mean, it's from the Isle of Man, and has anybody here seen Kelly? K-E-double-L. Sorry, it's a song about the Isle of Man. It's from Paul Watterson of the Isle of Man, and he sent me that.
Okay.
And said, I hope you like for your big milestone birthday. Thanks for that. I think it was... Oh, no, millstone. No, he says milestone. And I tell you what, I got another card from Danny, a male nanny in Los Angeles from Ipswich. Got all that?
I thought it was all going to rhyme when it was.
And the reason he sent this, it's got an elephant on it. It says, if you don't think I'm thinking of you, and then inside, when you open it, it says, you've got another think coming.
Oh, well,
now,
that's stolen my message.
That's an old debate about whether it's you've got another thing coming or another think coming. But I think the fact that they've put think in inverted commas suggests that it isn't the norm.
No.
You know what I'm talking about, Willis? Okay, so that's Correspondence Corner. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah,
Did you like it?
I did. It felt
next
like...
week, Frank reads out his gas bill.
Yeah.
Seemed a bit more like Frank's Free Gifts Corner than Correspondence Corner.
Well, it
but
felt like Ask Aspel or something like that. It had proper letters that I could hold and
Gardener's
cards.
World.
Yeah. Smashing. Okay, I think other stuff.
Okay.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Text the show on 8 12 15. We'd love to hear from you. Follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio. We'd still love to hear from you. Email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Yes? Ditto.
I love our readers so much. I might give them a mention in my gratitude journal today.
Yeah.
Well, if
They deserve it.
If I wrote one, I would definitely put that reader that sent us novelty pens, because I've been really enjoying my nunchucks.
Yes.
You know, my pen, I'm scribbling with them now.
Yes.
I'm doodling. So
Yes, we all got a pen. I got a Cyberman. Emily got a equine.
Yeah, don't diss my equines.
And, yes, you
My
got...
new catchphrase. That's
Is it what
my...
they call them? Numchucks? I'm sure we used to call them numchuckers.
Did you?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things you used to call a lot of things that we don't call it.
Yeah.
Do you know Theresa May?
No, but thanks for the tip.
Right.
Seamless, boys. Seamless.
She's been in the news this week for
Really?
delivering her... I know.
Come.
I know. Slow news week. She delivered a Brexit message in...
She delivered a hard Brexit.
I believe she did, in an old suit. But not that old. It's like 2013 or something.
When you say old suit, don't make it sound like she took it to the Sue Ryder shop. I mean, it was Viv Westwood.
Was it? Is that that's good, is it?
Yeah, oh yes.
Is it?
I love a bit of Viv.
I don't know much about fashion, as you may guess from looking at me.
You look great.
But I went to the Victoria and Albert Museum once for a Vivienne Westwood exhibition. And, you do realise when you see fashion in that kind of context, it is art. It's art, man.
Very much so.
Yeah. Getting around it. But, of course, she is the queen of punk, so it suggests to me a sort of punk Brexit.
Theresa May doesn't seem that punky to me.
Well, I'm thinking, can you imagine a punk Brexit? So it's sort of saying, as in, with punk, we're turning we back on the sort of prog rock of the EU.
Yeah.
And we're going a bit DIY, looking after a bang, make your own way through it. And then the whole phenomenon will burn out in about 18 months.
Can I just give you the perspective from Fashion Corner?
Yeah.
I would say she made a good choice. Look, she's limited. She has to choose a British designer to a degree. For a big announcement like that...
Is that what you meant by limited? Oh, God.
Well, especially for a hard Brexit, you've got to go British, haven't you, with the designer?
Yeah.
You're sending out all sort of mixed signals if you get your...
Yes, what she
there.
should have done is worn Jerry Halliwell's old mini dress.
That
What
would
if
have been...
she'd come out in that?
Oh, man, that would have
What
been
if she'd
good
come out
television.
in that? What would be the effect? Would that... She could still continue after as a serious politician.
Now, I reckon, I can say this, being a lady,
Go on.
I reckon she's got a cracking pair of pins on her.
I think she knows that.
Yeah.
Because I know she wears the odd trouser
5'8",
suit, but
looking great.
she also likes getting them out,
Right.
the legs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Just for clarity, yeah.
And she went for brogues, a patent brogue with a Diamante detail on the heel from Russell and Bromley.
The Diamante detail. I thought she'd gone for the LED light soles. You know those ones?
Oh, yeah.
I've started to see quite a lot of those about now. What if
Like
she'd
someone
gone for
between the
that?
age of 3 and 8?
And every time she said the word Brexit, they lit up.
That would have been...
I wish she'd worn wheelies.
That would have been
What if
real
she'd
great.
come on? If she'd wheelied on?
That could have been the big exit.
Too hazardous.
The big Brexit.
If they can't trust Trump with a banana skin, they can't trust her with wheels on her shoes. I don't think there's too much jeopardy.
I liked her look. I think it was I Mean Business. Mm-hmm. I like that she went for a brogue and not the Tory MP traditional nude court shoe with the American tan tight. I think it was great. It was statesmanlike, but a bit directional.
When you wear a sort of a trouser suit like that with what I would call a loose fitting leg, you know,
I'm going wide leg. Yeah.
I think with a wide leg, you have to go for a bit of extra length. This is my view. You have to go a bit Catherine Hepburn bringing up baby. If you go a bit
That's
short...
That's a palazzo pant, my friend.
Well, if you go a bit short, though, with a wide leg, there's an element of closed umbrella outside a pub.
Right.
And I thought she had a bit of... That's where I thought she let herself down. I wouldn't have minded another inch and a half of material at the bottom of the trousers. Teresa, if you're listening.
I'm not sure she's in the demographic.
I think she thought, look, you know, I'm not taking any risk on them not seeing the Diamante.
That's right, yeah.
So
she wanted us to see
give me that gaffer tape.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'll do some impromptu
She's hemmed them.
Yeah.
But it meant I thought there was an element of swishing when she came on.
Okay.
And I don't like a traserial swish at a serious announcement.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
I feel a bit sorry for Theresa May on this, because the papers, they said something like that she was wheeling out a suit that she's been wearing. It's been doing the rounds.
She had the wheelies on.
They said that this Vivienne Westwood suit has been doing the rounds since 2013, as if, like, that's ancient. And I'm pretty sure on this show we covered a royal family member that had been wearing the same jacket for 30 years. It's only...
I think it was Princess Anne.
I think it might have been, yeah.
Well, I think we discovered that the designer she bought it from, didn't he die in 1954 or something?
But I recently...
it's a homage.
I recently threw out some jogging bottoms, and I
don't believe that for a second.
Oh, well, believe in it, baby. They had a hole in the bottom.
Can you not call him baby? It's a bit Donald Trump.
I realised that they were 22 years old. I had got them in my drama school era.
I bet they've seen some sights, Frank.
Yeah, I was still wearing them.
They've seen some bedsits.
I mean, they were doing the rounds, weren't they? That's 3 years old, 4 years old for a suit.
What's the oldest item of clothing you've got?
I once sat in the Nashville home of Lamar Fike, who was a very close friend of Elvis Presley. And he was talking to me about when Elvis met Priscilla.
My tummy's gone.
Was that your tummy?
Yeah.
Hang on.
Mazel tov. And she was quite young, and he said, I had underpants all over there.
Yeah.
Which is a line I think comics still do to young members of the audience.
Yeah, but Lamar Fight was about 35.
I do it to boyfriends sometimes.
So he probably had underpants bigger than her as well.
We've had a tweet in, Frank, saying, are we talking about...
Truly, this is the modern world.
Yeah.
Are we talking about the black trouser suit or the bus seat material one? Hashtag green and black... that's from Flower Power Gardening.
Well, I think Flower Power Gardening, in your own usage, we are talking about the bus seat material one.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a smart tartan.
Are any fabric or upholstery fans in? I can't imagine how many rubs it would be. You know, that's how they measure fabric for upholstery.
Is that right?
They have like a rubbing machine,
right?
So they say things like,
you do.
Oh, that's worth like 20,000 rubs.
Do they have a simulated behind?
Yeah.
That they do?
I do.
Yeah.
I'm just going to say you do and I do for 3 hours.
Oh, you do is the... You know, we were talking about...
Do you think that that Minaj was at home hearing that and saying, yeah, I do? Oops.
You know, we were talking about what advice people have taken from this show.
Yes.
I think the main thing that I have got from working with you for years now is saying you do to people all the time.
Yes,
you are.
And I particularly enjoy it when it makes no sense.
Yeah. Well, my wife does not, so I have to make sure that they hit fairly frequently.
In the age of fake news, we worry too much about things making sense.
Yeah.
Yes.
Stop making sense, that's what I say.
Lovely.
Was that David Byrne? Anyway.
Frank Skinner on the radio.
Emily's got a bit of a point of order, I think.
Point of order?
She's
Well, I have, because I like to think we believe in equality on this show,
Oh,
and
we do.
we're just...
Come on, love, get on with it.
Oh, Bants.
Okay, baby. This is from 203, who says, can you stop blathering on about May's clothes? May being Teresa, not Brian.
No.
Apart from it being ridiculously sexist, I don't give a damn what she wears.
Well,
Okay. And why is it ridiculously sexist, though?
Well, I would like to say at this point that I think we devote more time to being rude about men's clothes on this show
I
than we do
think
to
we're being
women's
rude.
clothes.
I think I established that Vivienne Westwood
We were nice
is
about
an
Westwood.
artist.
yeah.
No, but my point is, I don't think this is specifically because she's female, because we have a roll call of men whose clothes we laughed at.
I remember
I think
talking
that's
about
true.
Dr. Jonathan Miller's jeans.
Yes.
Remember the cosmonauts' voluminous chino?
Oh, yes.
What
Or,
about-
what about one of my favourite textings ever? What time in the morning does the Edge put on his hat?
That's
What about
sexist.
What about when I laid into Hugo Chavez, the former president of Venezuela's red shirt?
Yes, I talked about the shirt collars of Carlos the Jackal.
Indeed. And I was a big fan of the epaulets on Fidel Castro's jacket.
Yeah.
Why, only this morning I drew attention to Baron Trump's jacket.
And on the political front, I think we got 45 minutes out of Farage's shoes, not so long back.
Easily. And then
So,
some.
Kim
David
Collins'
Cameron's
collars,
holiday
hello.
clothes. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a list.
So we're just saying no one is safe from
But
us.
I mean, fair
Yeah.
to... Is it 203? Is that... Is,
Yes.
what's that?
2 or 3,
Yeah.
whose gender
Yeah.
we do not know.
I mean, blathering is something that we do quite a lot of
Yeah.
on this show.
Yeah. I mean, you asked earlier, Frank, just to lighten the mood. Let's lighten the mood, guys. Let's lighten the mood. You asked earlier for people's ways of identifying animals.
There you go. Animals
you?
of all the genders.
I don't.
I can identify the genders myself if I have to.
Yes.
I don't want to, make things light too much, but we have had some answers on that.
No, I'm fascinated by that.
Morning, guys. The way to identify a dog is by calling its name. I think that's
isn't
just
true.
that's just good advice, though.
Yeah.
If you're in a
Isn't actually
park
true.
and there's a lot of dogs.
If you've got a
Shout out.
dog called Stephen, for example,
Right.
and you go, Stephen, I think
Right.
if you went,
You
it would
think
still
it would-
come.
Right.
Because it's a tonal.
Okay,
mark.
well, let's
Do
see
you
if
think
this
it knows
is...
the word Stephen? Don't be
No.
Let's
ridiculous.
see if this is a bit more scientific.
These
Well,
are things that
I-
lick their own privates.
Hi, guys.
So can I just have a minute, Alan?
No, let's not.
I think it's better
I-
not to have a full minute
Well,
on
when
that.
I call my equines,
Yeah.
I notice they respond in exactly the same way, and I think it's the same principle. So I might go,
It's
Huey,
tonal.
Poppy. They've all got two syllables, my equines.
Why don't you just call them all horsey and see if it makes any difference?
Why don't you?
But you know, with the sheepdogs, the older.
Yeah. Yeah, come by.
Yeah, I mean, any
All that stuff.
noise will do.
What's come by?
That's what
That's
they
what they
say.
always
innit?
say, come by.
Come by.
Come
by.
here, come here.
Kevin has texted,
Don't
hi
quote me on
guys. Hi guys, I used to struggle to tell the difference between a seal and a sea lion until I discovered a sea lion has got ears.
That's a good one.
Is that...
I'm writing that down.
Oh, well, this is another one that's very useful. I'm sure you'll need to write this down. Alligators are timid creatures that, generally speaking, will not eat you. Crocodiles, on the other hand, are aggressive predators that will eat you.
Is that right?
Useful info from
Really?
489. I'm not sure. I wouldn't want to test that theory.
I
and
wish-
confidently stroll up
But-
to what I think is an alligator.
Given that information, I wouldn't mind an ident, so I can tell one from the other. Because the way of telling them is basically you put your leg in the water and see what happens. That's,
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
that's
right?
what
Not the
he's
method,
suggesting.
You put
I'm
your
at-
left leg in.
Or she.
And then-
not necessarily take your left leg out. If it's a crocodile, by the sounds of it.
You certainly shake it all about, though.
Yes, well, I think the crocodile probably shakes it
But
all
that's what I
about.
mean, yeah. Taxi Joe has been in touch, the Pope's designer shoes.
Yes,
Oh.
exactly. Yes, the red Prada slippers
The
of
mule.
Benedict.
I mean,
Oh,
I don't,
love
I
those.
don't mean to hark back to jokes that I told, but I seem to remember saying that he'd bought them on eBay because they were PayPal shoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
True.
love
There are certain jokes
Love
that you do
jokes.
on this show that I leave a pause after because, not because I don't want to laugh, but because I feel like they should come in a gold frame. And I imagine them in that before I move on. And that was certainly one of them. There's been a couple today.
Oh, he's come out with some
The
zingers.
Anton de Beck joke.
Oh, I'll tell you what, that
Right
was
up there.
first class, and you know there's no finer praise from me.
No, indeed. Yes. Now, what I should have done is hit the button then on that as a nice rhythm, but now I've done that faltering thing at the end that I do.
Yeah.
But does it really matter?
No.
8, 12, 15.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
We've had a text. I don't think this is about how do you tell one animal from another, but it's on a similar vibe. Claire from Leeds has texted, you mentioned cosmonauts. What's the difference between a cosmonaut and an astronaut? Just asking.
Cosmonaut is Russian. He's part of the Russian space program. Astronauts are Americans plus others.
No Googling needed.
There we go.
From Frank
Well, someone
Skinner.
else sat
Strong
now
work.
send in and say, well, actually, Helen Sharman is British, and when she went up as part of the Russian line, she was officially classed as a cosmonaut.
Is that right?
No, I don't know if that was right.
Oh, I thought that was some good info.
Helen
there.
Sharman actually was at the same gig as the cosmonaut in the voluminous chinos.
Is that right?
Space. He loves space, especially inside a trouser leg.
Yeah.
Oh, that cosmonaut.
Yeah.
On the subject of recycling your old Vivienne Westwood suit, a story that has popped up this week quite a lot and is increasingly close to my heart is this woman who didn't spend any money for a year.
Yes, Michelle.
I know I've got a stingy reputation.
Michelle McGah.
Yeah.
Because like she's one consonant
McGah.
away from being a doctor, Frank. Michelle McGah.
Michelle McGah is even saving on consonants.
That's right.
Yes.
She basically heard about this Buy Nothing Day where people eschew retail during
Yes.
Black Friday, like a big
I'd
retail
never heard
day.
of Buy Nothing Day
No, it's
before.
a thing. It's a thing.
It's a response to the Consumer Day.
And I think because she had recently bought a house with her husband, she was living with just 20% of her possessions and realising that it was fine, and she thought, I could do Buy Nothing Day. In fact, I could probably do Buy Nothing Year, and then she set herself a challenge.
I wonder how many unwanted pregnancies have come out of Buy Nothing Day.
Yeah, good point. And so she
She
lived...
had her stuff in 2 drawers, she said.
£30 a week she spent on food and, other sundries, presumably, if she was buying things.
Can I say her
Affordable.
stuff in 2 drawers? She did have a lot of stuff in storage, didn't she?
Yeah.
Yes. But
Yeah,
what
I
I'm
think-
saying is she existed solely on items in 2 drawers.
Yes.
And I think a lot of that
For a
stuff
year.
that they had in storage they sold for charity or gave away. But it's... I like all this.
What if she had an event? What did she wear?
I don't think she had an event.
Oh.
Didn't go or wore her cycling stuff because she went around by
yes.
bicycle. And just, like, she had to stop meeting people for coffee because it was, like, a bit weird, her sat there whilst they were drinking coffee.
'Cause she would
her
just
not
have
spending any-
water.
She'd have tap water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then she started to meet people with a flask of tea and
Her
they went for a
husband-
little walk and stuff like that.
Her husband cut her hair with clippers.
And it looks good.
Yeah. Well, I
thought
like,
it looked
I
better
like,
after,
I like
actually.
a prankster.
I think he did it with her blessing.
But
Yeah, she was drunk at the time. She passed out.
I had a walk-in meeting. Somebody said, "Let's have a meeting," and I said, "Well, I live near Hampstead Heath. Can you come over?" And I meant like a restaurant there, and they said, "Well, let's just go for a walk." So
With
we
a coffee?
That's nice.
So we had a
Frank,
walk-in meeting.
I like that. It's like Spies at the Lincoln Memorial.
Yeah.
It was a bit like that.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you
You're
have
like
your
a
collar
hitman.
turned up? Like,
Well, it
against
meant
the
that
wind?
if you were going to say anything crucial, like something like a fee,
Yeah.
you'd wait till someone had walked past before you said it.
You don't want them to walk past and hear.
Well, in
him.
restaurants,
What if they were
You said
wired,
he'd do
though?
it
You
for
don't
200
know.
quid.
No, you don't know. But I've sat next to couples in restaurants, and my partner Kath gives me the eye, and you realise these couple are just sitting in complete silence, listening to everything you say.
Oh, yeah,
really?
yeah.
And I mean, if I'd have spilt the beans about the African elephant ears,
Oh, yeah.
it would have been. It's on Twitter, and next thing you know, you
don't
got
want
paparazzi outside your
Don't
door.
want them getting gold like that.
She
from you for
revealed
nothing.
what their diet was for the year. They lived on oats for breakfast, spag bol, as they called it, and then stew for dinner.
But vegetarian
Yeah.
versions of that.
Oh.
Which I
Already?
thought was a bit Les Miserables, frankly.
Yeah.
Already, when someone uses the phrase spag bol, I've gone off them a bit.
Oh, I
went
do
on.
that.
I don't like spag bol.
I like
Can I-
spag bol.
It's a bit take
You've
a
gotta
few,
look-
what's your poison, it's my shout.
I've got to
isn't
say,
it?
you've got to look at how much time they've saved by saying spag bol, because spaghetti bolognese, I mean, that takes ages, doesn't it?
I never
Especially
give
as you don't say AZ. Especially as you've added a weird E, Frank, hasn't he? It's spaghetti bolognese.
It might be bolognese, but I've never
bolognese.
It's your favourite band, Hazy Fantaise.
Hello, I'll have the spaghetti bolognese.
I always think, whenever anyone tells me, for example, that they're doing I'm in a big healthy eating thing at the moment, or I'm in training for a marathon to, I'm going to raise money for charity, for that. Or I've started cycling, so I really want to save the planet. Or I'm doing yoga because I want to see my spiritual side. I always think, you want to lose weight? You want to lose weight? Just say, I want to lose weight. Don't dress it up. I want to be able to wear those trousers I can't wear anymore. I want a flatter stomach. Just say it. Just say that. But this one, I'm sure the whole motivation for this was to lose weight. I don't doubt that for a second. I mean, really? Respect to her.
I actually think that some of it was meanness. I've got to be honest. No, come on, let's be honest. We're doing a social experiment. No, you're not. You're saving money. And you've said, but actually what you don't want to do is say to your friends, I don't want to buy you any drinks. I don't want to pick up the tab for dinner. I don't want to spend money on anything. So if you say you're doing some amazing experiment, Guardian-type experiment, everyone will think that's fantastic.
Well, indeed.
If you say you want to save some cash...
Well, they paid 23 grand off on their mortgage as a result of what they saved that year.
Not bad.
Which is good. Well done.
Yeah.
But when she said some of the bakeries put bread outside at night and we went and took those, I thought maybe that's for the homeless, not people trying to pay off their mortgage or doing a social experiment.
I think when you're rifling through the bins at night, you've got to look within yourself. If you're living in accommodation with a roof over your head and paying a mortgage, I think there's something...
It's not for you,
That's what I mean.
I'm not sure about that. Since reading this, my kids have been living off bread that I've been stealing off pigeons in the street. So.
Well, but those people,
whose need is greiter than yours.
Those people who put out bird feed in this weather for the wild birds, and they were probably going around scooping that up. I mean, what we're talking about here is, scavengers who have actually got a few bob in their pocket.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
Oh, we've had a text from a naysayer about the minimalism challenge.
Oh, yeah.
523 has said, we worked out that the lady who saved £22,000 by not spending any disposable income for a year must have a salary of at least £70,000. We could all save that much if we were on 70 grand a year.
Mathematics.
A bit of maths.
The thing I found out, there's a bit said the only clothing I had to buy was I had to get some jeans because they got holes in them. I thought, hello? Have you had to walk around the streets just for one thing
it's
you want?
It's impossible to buy jeans without holes these days.
The jeans became on trend during your minimalism year.
The one thing I would say is that I'm reluctant to go too far down that weirdos route.
Oh,
me too.
Because I think that's what the Daily Mail people would call her.
No, I think what she wants to do is she wanted to write a book and lose weight.
Yes, I think just call it what it is, love.
And I like the fact that she's bringing to mainstream attention the idea that sometimes, rather than you owning your possessions can start to own you.
I believe that.
Sometimes you can just, like, I've got a car, I'm not bragging, it's just a fact. But sometimes...
It'd be tragic if you weren't, this day and age. I mean, a lot of people have a car.
Believe me, there'll be people at home going...
like when it needs insured or taxed or a new tyre or something, you start thinking, oh, God, I hate having a car. I've got to get, it's just really annoying, isn't it?
What about when someone in Frank's family, I think it was Frank's sister was dating a man with a car, and everyone came out to have a look at it.
We all went out the house to look at it. It was a second-hand Mini looking back, but we really thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. Surely not. There must be some mistake.
Anyway, I am going to get Michelle's book from the library.
Right.
Do we know what it's called?
And then I'm going to pass it on to other people who want to read it. And she'll see what happens to the suppliers of things, like in restaurants and pubs and clothes shops, if we all stop buying stuff.
I do agree with her, because I am doing this tidying, decluttering thing at the moment. And I saw on one of your little shows, Frank, last night, from 101, one of your guests was Anita Rani. She's doing that as well.
Is she?
Yes.
She's
life-changing magic of tidying.
She's anti-clutter.
And it is life-changing.
I had a terrible go at a minimalism challenge last year where you get rid of one thing on one day.
I missed that reality show.
2 things on the second day, and you work through, and on the last day you're getting rid of 30 things, so it's a 30-day challenge.
Wow.
I reckon I got rid of about 80 or 100 things and then just stopped halfway through the
I'd
month.
just buy a box of matches at the beginning of the week.
Well, I'll tell you what, I think if anybody is thinking of doing that 30-day challenge, you want one of those massive whiskey bottles full of coppers at the start.
Oh, I thought you meant
like,
you needed a drink to get through it.
No, you know,
Well,
like in the 70s in a living room.
We probably are too materialistic, but this
Probably.
is... I had... because I had a long period of having no money at all, that's when I did all my minimalist stuff. Now I've got a few bob in my pocket. I'm going to live it up because it's, you know...
Oh, spend. I'm going to live it up, Frank Skinner.
But it's not a fancy dress party, being poor. You don't think, oh, I wouldn't mind doing that for a year. Come on, love. Come on, love. Cheer up, have a cup of tea. Sorry, I became myself in 1978.
Yeah.
So look, bring on the feathers.
Hear the Frank Skinner Show as it happens, Saturday morning from 8 until 11 on 105.8 FM in London and the South East.